Today, chilling a little bit outside of the studio. I've been sitting the entire day up there doing business stuff, and now just relaxing a little bit outside with a nice fresh German beer and enjoying the view right out of the studio, which is like beautiful. I mean, like, having this as my studio location is probably the best thing in my life. Helps me really a lot to stay inspired. But today, I have to say I'm struggling a bit. I started a new song up there in the studio, and it just sounds like everything else. I'm sure you know that problem. It's so hard to make something unique that is still good and doesn't sound like everyone else's song, and that isn't really part of any kind of style, but still kind of passes as music that is enjoyable. So the big question is actually how to produce, how to make original music and still succeeding with it. I got a couple ideas, techniques that I will try and share with you. So let's head up there, make some music.
Every time I hurt, no one sees those fragile parts, the burning wounds that became scars. No one will ever believe, no one will ever believe. I keep coming.
So let's maybe start with the most simple thing that makes your music way more original, and that's actually like technical parts, like the technique you use to make your music, the kind of style, the kind of samples that you like and you choose. So I think this part happens over time. You start learning how to produce music. You might sound design something and really like it, save it, reuse it, change it a little, and this way slowly get towards to your original kind of sound that definitely differs from everyone else's sound. Same for the type of chords that you might use, even like your room acoustic and your ability to actually hear what you're making might influence that. Some people are producing in a room that doesn't really give them accurate bass, so maybe their songs always lack a little bit of bass or have too much bass. This can also be part of your style, and of course personal preference, or maybe you just not knowing because you can't hear it, but that's a whole nother topic. I think the easiest way to be original is actually combining styles, techniques, ideas from other styles of music into your style of music, like doing a little bit of a crossover, not entirely, not combining metal with house music maybe, but maybe getting some elements from metal into house music. Maybe the way how the drummer did the drum roll or the live hi-hats that I actually also really like, take them and put them into electronic music that actually uses more robotic and more like loop-based kind of hi-hats. A lot of people always say they don't listen to other people's music because then they just copy it, but I actually think listening to as many styles as possible will actually help you. At least it helps me to kind of get another idea, another perspective onto music. And then another technique that is even easier is just like warming up old stuff. Usually this always happens every 20-25 years, just a natural shift of a generation. So right now a lot of covers are being made from the time where I was young and first going out and listen to music very intensively. And for me, I know it's a cover, but it reminds me of like good old times, and I already know the lyrics. That's a good way to succeed. And for the younger generation that doesn't know these kind of styles and techniques from the past, it might be something new, and you still have the possibility to do it in your own way, and maybe also use like modern techniques, modern sound designs, modern synthesizers and plugins to actually shape it in a modern sounding version of the old stuff. I think a very good example at the moment is Calvin Harris. I mean, he's like one of the most successful music producers for electronic music, and he's right now basically just doing the house music that was really successful like 10, 15, 20 years ago. It sounds very old school, but it has a twist to it that sounds like Calvin Harris, plus like the modern touch. And then of course, especially for electronic music, the actual technical parts, the plugins, the outboard gear, the things you need and use to make music are really important, because it has always been very influenced by techniques. For example, sidechaining wasn't really available, and then someone came up with it to sidechain a compressor and have this pumping sound using the kick as a trigger. Now everyone is doing it. Also, for example, mid-side stereo EQing multi-band compression, all of this kind of shapes the sound. So you really need to be up on par with the newest plugins. If you have a new plugin that enables you to do something new that no one else can do because they don't have it yet, then just try to get your hands on it. Be always like really fresh and nerdy about these kind of things. Don't get lost because you still need to make music. But if there's something new available that gives you a new opportunity, use it. I mean, we're now seeing, for example, in hip-hop music, a lot of auto-tune tracks. I mean, this technique was already available years ago, but now it's on a whole nother level. It sounds way better and is really used as a stylized effect. It might go away, I hope it will go away, but it might come back in 10-20 years again as the new thing. Then, for example, all of the Soundtoys plugins that do like delay and kind of reverb, granular, echo, synthesizer effects really sound unique and very complex, but it's just that one plugin that does all for you. Things like these are extremely handy to have. Then, for example, there's a plugin called SKYPE that is like getting rid of your resonating frequencies, which makes your sound way smoother and less harsh and still kind of crisp and fat. So these kind of techniques and tools, you need to learn everything about them just to stay ahead of everyone else. Same, for example, as Flume, he did those wobbly chords. Now everyone is doing it, but he was just fast, like doing it with the first plugins that were able to do it. Same with like pitched vocals. At the beginning, people did them by hand, and now there are tons of plugins available where you just hit the MIDI keyboard and it does it for you. So being fast is really important whenever something new is available. Trying to be the first one actually using it and like being known for this kind of style, and then everyone else is actually copying you. It's probably the best that can happen to you. This is actually what happened to Kygo. I know he wasn't the first one doing Tropical House, but the first one to kind of break through with it. And he's now the Tropical House guy. Unfortunately, Tropical House isn't that in anymore, so you hear less from him and his songs are getting less played on the radio. He actually needs to switch it up again. You see, it's not really easy, like staying relevant as a musician, not copying everyone else, making your own stuff, but still not too different that no one is interested in it. That's actually one of the biggest factors. You have to be different, but not too different. We will talk about that in a bit. I first need to work a little bit on this new song that is so close to being finished, and I'm just trying to give it a little bit of a unique touch with some of the new plugins that I got.
Don't feel like giving up. I'm testing my love. Give it all I got. I give it all I got.
All done for today with music production. I actually like I think I got something that sounds a little bit different than anything else, but still kind of fits to deep house. Because again, the problem is if you make something that is so unique that it doesn't fit to anything, then no one will actually help you with your music really. Because usually electronic dance music labels, they search like for a style that everyone is kind of following, at least to some extent. So this trying to be very unique and make something that is original might also hinder you at the same time to actually advance and make money and maybe get gigs and followers and fans. So copying to some extent is important, but also within that copying have your own style. So again, it's a complicated topic, but don't worry about not having your unique style yet. Don't worry about trying to be original. Just make music, make sure that it's good, and you will somehow succeed with it. And I think the style and being original, this will come over time without you trying to focus on that too much. So let me know what you think about this topic, maybe some of your favorite techniques. And again, listening to music a lot is very important. If you want to make music for people that listen to music, you need to listen to it yourself to know actually what's good and what people actually enjoy. So definitely not just sit in the studio and make your own music. Listen to music. That's also why I think DJing is quite important for an electronic music artist, because if you play those songs, you actually know how to make them and how people on the dance floor react to it. For different styles of music, this might vary. Maybe for rock music, it would be really good if you're in a band to actually know how it works.